Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Divorce Den, where we talk about all things related to divorce and trying to take the stigma out of divorce. Understanding that nearly 50% of the people who get married are going to get divorced, and there is no shame in divorce. Our focus on this channel is to give you a safe space to come and ask questions, to learn information about how you can make your divorce process a lot smoother and not ruin your future. I want to start out by saying that I am a New York attorney, but I am not your attorney. And what I'm going to be doing today is not giving legal advice. It's just some sound information and some guidance that you can take to speak to an attorney or speak to any other professionals that you think might be helpful to help you create a new path forward. A big focus of our channel is always going to be ways that you can help navigate your future without ever going to court, whether it's divorce mediation, whether it is the collaborative divorce process, which I feel very, very strongly about and advocate wholeheartedly on the process and using that process for your divorce, or even just a settlement between you and your soon to be ex spouse outside of court. What we'll talk about here is the attorney's role in the collaborative process. Just as we talked about saving time, money, and emotional energy, there are professionals here in the team who can help with that. We have financial neutrals who can help create budgets, go over support numbers, do a million different things with the figures themselves and making sure that the numbers are navigated in a way that's going to protect you in the future. We have a facilitator who is a mental health professional who can really help give you resources for therapists or other resources outside of the collaborative room that can help you feel more supported and more heard during the process. And in the process, that facilitator can also ensure that your voice is heard and that you have a safe space in order to express yourself. The attorney's role is, just as you would expect, to guide you legally. Our role really is to ensure that you have all of the information to make informed decisions. You know what the law is, you know what the parameters of certain guidelines are within the law, specifically in the domestic relations law in New York. And the other goal and the other focus of the attorneys in the room is really to make sure that you are understanding everything that you're agreeing to. If you want to give up all of your rights to 100% of everything that is marital, you have the right to do that. We as the attorneys want to guide you through what that means. Not just what it means legally, okay, yes, I'm giving up 100%, but what might that mean down the road? Are you able to give up 100%? Is your spouse able to take the full 100% and you walk away with just nothing? Sometimes. Are you able to just walk away from child support and just waive child support if you have custody of the children? Not really. So again, there are nuances that people think, well, I'm going to make this agreement because if I give up child support, then my spouse is going to give me the house. So there are ways that we can sort of trade off and make things work. But an attorney is really going to be able to guide you on the nuances of what the law will allow, what the law may not allow, and really inform you as to if you have any issues down the road when you're signing this legal document, what you're signing off on, what you are actually giving up. Not today, not tomorrow, but maybe in a month from now, maybe in a year from now, maybe in 10 years from now. And then those are things that you might not be able to think about right now because you're so emotionally charged or you're so drained or you're just so caught up in trying to make it through day to day that you can't think about what that future might look like 10 years from now. The collaborative attorney works with you specifically behind the scenes to, again, give you that one on one guidance, to talk through things and make sure that you fully understand everything. Take your time and ensure that you're informed and that they can advocate for you in the process as to what your decisions are. Another way that they work in the process is within the whole team. Your attorney and your spouse's attorney in the collaborative model are not adversaries. We will not battle. We will not fight. We will not start threatening each other. Oh, my client's entitled to X, or I'm going to throw depositions at you, or I'm going to take a posture or a stance that doesn't make any sense for my client. Our goal is to take your needs, your concerns, your worries, and express them to each other because your spouse will have their own concerns and worries. And we express them to each other in a way that makes sense for us to help you create and craft a settlement agreement that you can live with. We never threaten each other. We will certainly advocate for you. We will certainly say, no, I think my client is entitled to X, Y, and Z, and here's my reasons. The other attorney will do the same thing. Seasoned collaborative attorneys understand that if we were in court, we generally know. You never really know, there's no guarantees, but in general, we know what the parameters of the law are. We know what the court might dictate. So there's a house, there's a retirement account, and there's a business. We pretty much know, based on the length of your marriage, based on case law, based on the county that we're in, where you might fall as far as allowing a court to make a decision regarding those things. Well, then the collaborative attorneys, who are called collaborative counterparts, will work together to say, within these parameters, let's create something. Let's craft something here that will make sense for the both of them. What is your client willing to give on? What is my client willing to give on? Maybe we can meet in the middle. Maybe we can discuss it with both of them to see if, okay, this makes a little bit more sense. You can take this, I will take that, and then we can come and meet in the middle. Our goal is always to protect you legally now and into the future, as well as ensuring that your voice is heard in the process while we work together. And now I know that collaborative attorneys working in this way really sounds like the actual opposite of the way things are done in the courtroom, the way they're portrayed in social media or on television, as far as attorneys just battling and fighting it out. When we're talking about over 95% of cases that go to court end up getting resolved, why do you want to battle it out? Why would you want your attorney to waste time blustering and saying that they're going to, drag you through the mud and take you to court and act like that pit bull, when at the end of the day we sort of know where we're going to land? If over 95% of cases are settling, that's because we know generally where they're going to land. If we know that at the end, we can start at the beginning from that posture, from the settlement mindset, from us saying, I'm not going to waste your time and money. I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to be dragging people through the mud when I know what they're entitled to. And I'm going to advise you of that. Most collaborative attorneys, at least the ones that I've worked with, are very straightforward with our clients. We advise you of the law. We don't promise you anything that you're not going to be entitled to. We don't promise you anything that you might get during the process, right? Okay, this is outside of court, so maybe we can try to navigate, underhanded dealings. Never. We don't do that. What we're going to do is tell you, these are the parameters of the law. Here's how we can help you. What do you think we can negotiate? And we do everything through the lens of what's in your best interest. Your best interest, your spouse's best interest, your children's, your extended family, now and into the future. Because most people are thinking about things in this little tiny divorce bubble. But you know what happens tomorrow when a judge signs off on your divorce? We're out of the picture. If there are issues, you can always come back. But for the most part, we don't want you to have to come back. We want to try to craft something now that has a solid foundation that's going to help you resolve everything and never have to speak to us again. Collaborative attorneys are trained specifically in the collaborative model, and we're trained very carefully about what they call the paradigm shift, where this shift happens in our heads where legally, when we're in law school, legally the way that we protect people in court and the way that we've been trained is to really advocate, to zealously advocate for our clients at all costs. So while that doesn't mean doing anything nefarious or underhanded, it certainly does mean playing this game of who's going to puff up their chest more, who's going to bolster more, who's going to threaten more, who's going to throw more litigation tactics at the other. We have to be trained in a specific way that takes that and sort of turns it in our mind and changes it in the way that we view this. The way that we view your matter is really about your family unit now, and what your family unit is going to look like into the future. And we want to make sure that we're working in your best interest. It's not about blustering for the sake of the court or making sure that we put on this grand show at trial. It's about putting family first. And that's what collaborative attorneys do. The ones that I work with take it very seriously and really encourage the both of you to, as much as possible, discuss matters with each other, discuss concerns with your team, of course, but as much as you can, save that time, money, and emotional energy and speak to each other. If there's anything that you need to discuss with your attorney that you have specific concerns about, absolutely do that. Speak to them and then understand that your attorney will bring these things to the table in the meetings and make sure that everyone knows. My client has specific concerns about the parenting plan. This might not work for the upcoming holiday, and here are the reasons. And that's where we can sit down and we can really start to work on it and make an agreement that works for both of you and for your children. Now, when I say that things will be shared at the table, what I'm talking about are things that we discuss. You're having a hard time articulating this. You're having a hard time maybe expressing why it is that you want something. I, as your attorney, can sit down and advocate for that interest or that goal of yours. You can do the same thing with the facilitator, even the financial neutral. Sometimes people feel more comfortable doing that with their attorney, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that everything that we discuss is going to be out there on the table. The attorney and the client still have attorney-client privilege. The attorney is still bound by that professional rule that we're not going to just be disclosing everything. However, what I will say is from the outset, and we talked to you at length about this, if there is something that you are deliberately hiding, if you say, you know what, I have that bank account, that offshore bank account that has $10 million in it, let's finish up the collaborative process and the divorce, and we can just leave that out of there. My spouse doesn't even know about it. That's prohibited. We're not doing that. We're not hiding any assets. We are not going to hide secrets for you. We are certainly not going to be party to anything underhanded like that. What we would do is encourage you to say, if you feel that that offshore account is separate and your spouse isn't entitled to it, that's not a problem. I will advocate that interest of yours. However, everything comes to the table. Anyone participating in the collaborative model understands that there is always full disclosure. And I, as your attorney, would ensure that you bring that to the table and you let everyone know I have this offshore account. And my concern is that my spouse is going to want half of it, even though it was an inheritance, even though I'm the only one who worked for it. Whatever your feeling is about that account and why your spouse is not entitled to it, we can certainly explore that. It doesn't mean your spouse will want it. It doesn't mean that they will take it. But what I'm telling you is if you have a big, deep, dark secret like that, that is something that your attorney cannot reveal once you've revealed it to them, right? Because again, there is that attorney-client privilege. But most collaborative attorneys, at least again, the ones that I work with, are not going to continue to work within the collaborative model. They might recommend that you find another attorney who can assist you. One of the main tenets of the collaborative model is that we're going to always work in your best interest. We are always going to fully disclose everything, and we are never going to court or threatening to go to court. So based on those three main tenets, how could your attorney really represent you properly if you're going to be hiding things from your soon-to-be ex? That is not going to benefit you, and it's not going to benefit your family in the long run. Once we have all of the issues resolved, you've worked through everything and you've decided what you're doing with the house and the retirement accounts and the business and what you're doing with spousal support and maybe child support, custody, all of these things. Once we have it all worked out, then it's the attorneys who then will draft the legal agreement that you'll both live by and then draft the divorce application documents that have to get filed with the court. So we make sure that we're reviewing everything with you every step of the way, and especially at the end when everything comes together in a stipulation of settlement in writing. We review it with you very carefully. We review it with your spouse and the collaborative counterpart. Sometimes the other professionals are involved too, in case you have a question about, well, what does this mean about the finances if, my spouse gets this retirement account and I get that one? Are there tax implications to that? Those kind of things. The financial person might sit and review that as well. If you have issues about maybe the parenting plan and you say, how is this going to work on leap years? Or how is this going to work if we're, trading every other holiday? Maybe we have the facilitator there to help give you some guidance and some alternatives. And then the attorneys are always there to go over everything that's in the agreement that is going to be legally binding on the both of you. And keep in mind that throughout the process, if there are things that you're working on very specifically, let's say the offset of retirement accounts, you have 2, 3, 10 retirement accounts. If you're working on that, you don't necessarily need your attorneys at every meeting. You don't necessarily need the facilitator there. You can be working just with the financial neutral so that that's saving you that time and money as well, instead of having the other professionals in the room. Once everything is completed with you in the financial neutral regarding those 10 retirement accounts, they will share that information with the team, including the attorneys, and we will certainly review it. But we don't need to be in every meeting. We don't need to hear every single detail of what's going on because nothing is being formally agreed to until everything is done and we've reviewed everything, and then we can put it in writing and sign it. So until that point, everything is really just based on what are your best interests now, what are your best interests into the future, and how can we make this all work on paper in a way that makes sense to you. It's a lot of information to take in, but the one thing that I really hope that you take away from this is while you do have legal representation in court, the way that you're represented is very different. The way your resources are spent is very different than the way you would spend those resources and the way that you would consult with and speak with your attorney in the collaborative model. Our lens is always about resolving this for you with the least disruption to your family and by saving you time and money. Whereas when we're in the litigation realm, our goal is to win. And that's just what it is. Court is set up to have a winner and a loser. And when it comes to families, I do not believe there should ever be a winner and a loser. The collaborative model helps the both of you have legal representation, ensure that you understand what you're signing off on, and ensure that your family will win. Thank you so much for joining us at Divorce Den, and we welcome any questions or comments or thoughts that you have, and any topic that you would love to discuss in the future, please let us know. If you find any value in these videos, we ask that you subscribe and you like and you share, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the Divorce Den.